But we found the feedback we got was the more specific we were
to
Australia and the people that we know and the characters that we understand, and the more universal because a lot of people say comedy's hard, it doesn't travel, but I feel like particularly in recent years we're seeing a lot of stuff from all over the world, and it doesn't matter if you don't get the odd reference. The intention of it and the comedy of it does come through, I think.
Like, we grew up watching all these American Christmas movies that are covered in snow, and we just accepted that.
Yeah.
But we were always swimming on Christmas Day with, sitting out in the sun eating prawns. So it's like,
well, in Townsville.
Well, sure. But anyone would. It's the middle of summer.
Yeah.
And we never question it. You just go, that's American Christmas or English Christmas.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation Conversation with Colin from Accounts. My name is Jenelle Riley. I'm an editor at Variety. I am so pleased to welcome today's guests. They are the show's creators, writers, and stars. They probably also do the craft services. Please welcome Patrick Brammall and Harriet Dyer. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us. Hello.
Hi.
Such a huge fan of this show, like so many people, and this is an audience of your fellow actors. So I actually always love to go back to the beginning and ask: was there sort of a moment you knew you wanted to be an actor? Were you someone who did school plays? Were you the class clown? When did you know that this was going to be your career?
I wasn't the class clown, but I sat next to the class clown and I studied him. No, that's waiting for Guffin, which we love, obviously. For me, I think I was a sick kid. Look, I've got a great backstory for this. No, I don't. I was actually a sick kid, and I was in hospital a bunch as a kid.
That really brings the vibe down.
I'm fine. I made it. But my uncle brought in. We're talking like early 80s, and my uncle brought in. Hi, Uncle David. He brought in a VCR, which is like brand new. Like, how did he even do it? I don't know. Was he a thief? I'm not sure. And he brought in Star Wars. And I couldn't eat, and I was in like a public ward, and there were a lot of kids around. And he brought in, I remember, in fact, it was Empire Strikes Back. And he brought it in, and when it was dinner time, the curtain went round, and they put the VCR, and I started watching Empire Strikes Back, which was incredible. Like, it's always stayed with me. I'm like incredibly so, but it didn't really work because all the other kids were like, it was just a thin curtain. Like, they all came and sat around my bed and ate right next to my head. But I think it was that, and Indiana Jones, like all these big blockbuster movies. And I was like, I want to be a space person. I want to be an architect,
astronaut.
No, what's in archaeologist?
Oh yeah.
And I thought, hang on. If I could be an actor, I could do all the things. And I haven't been cast as any of those things yet, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time.
Most cast is just guys that look like you.
Guys that look, with my body, which is slightly disappointing.
I mean, you write your own roles. You could write yourself an astronaut.
Yeah.
I bloody should.
That's laziness on your part.
It is. I've got no one to blame but me and you. Could blame you as well.
What happened with Harriet? She was
question.
I grew up in a very small town, and there was a really lively.
It's so small, it's called Townsville.
It's not that small though. It is called Townsville. Stop it.
Townsburg.
It's shut up.
Anyway.
There was a really vibrant local amateur theatre scene. And when I was about 6, I did my first musical, and then it was just plays and musicals every year. And then in high school, I did all the school plays and did drama and all that. And in any holidays, I was doing plays. And it just felt it was the only thing in my life that I was getting consistently good feedback on. Like, I mean, no one's going to clap when you get a maths result back anyway.
But they bloody should.
But they should. But it felt the best, I wasn't getting any sort of this feeling I couldn't chase with any other aspect of, something that I could study or do. I was kind of close to pivoting and just doing music, though, for a while. In my early 20s, I was, like 18, I was going to do jazz vocal performance.
Double threat.
I can tap dance too, so.
Whoa, triple.
Triple.
I'm a single threat.
Just the one. But yeah, I then went to drama school, and it just everything unfolded, and I never had a plan B. So
it helps not to have a plan B. I'm sure everyone can agree with that.
And my parents were super supportive the whole way through, so I wasn't pushed into something I didn't want to do.
That's see, because I think a lot of performers, you hear these stories about how they had to fight against their parents who didn't want them to go into the arts, but actually supportive parents can be good too, I guess.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew a stable childhood could also help?
Yeah.
Well, again, congratulations on Colin from Accounts. This has become such a huge word of mouth hit. I hear even Imelda Staunton is a fan. I mean, could you have predicted such a response?
No, and one of our producers, Rob Gibson, is just flying out of London now to come back to Sydney. And even though it came out in April there, he said it's still everyone's talking about it. It's still everyone's favorite. Like, it's still hot. And we're like, how's that possible 7 months later? But we are 8 months. We're taking it.
Well, we're taking it.
We never expected it to, we liked it. It was that thing. We walked out of the edit on the last day because we stayed all the way through and went, well, we like it.
Yeah, you never know how it's going to go. I mean, you hope they're going to like your baby, but basically we just hope that people don't hate it. Actually, the worst thing would be like people are like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst.
My big fear was people would think it was just cute. And that's what I stressed about. I never wanted it to just be like a cute doggy show. That kept me up at night.
We had a lot of cute doggy show emergency meetings through production. In fact, at one point in the writing process, look, I know this is an acting thing, but at one point, she was quite hectic this one morning, and she goes, okay.
Quite hectic this one morning.
Well, mate, you came out and said, okay, we don't hit a dog anymore. It's not a dog. Okay. She goes, it's an old lady. I went, okay.
And we kind of like adopt her. I don't know. I was obviously having a issue with mortality and the way we dispose of the elderly too easily. I was like, there's so much wisdom we could find in her.
Funny. Yeah, also, you didn't want it to be a cute doggy show. But bless our producers, they were like, okay, for 2 days. And then we went, yeah, no, it's a dog.
Yeah, we can save that. We can save that theme for something else.
Yeah. That hilarious show where we hit an old lady with our car.
No one likes that. It was just a flight of fancy.
Yeah.
I am learning, though, this seems like a very specific show, and I am learning sometimes the things that you do just to make yourself laugh or that feel very specific are actually pretty universal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we found after the fact, because like Harry said, we made a thing as best we could. And yeah, when we finished, we love that. We love that. We hope others do. But we found the feedback we got was the more specific we were
to Australia
and the people that we know and the characters that we understand and our influences growing up and stuff, the more universal because a lot of people say comedy's hard, it doesn't travel. But I feel like particularly in recent years, we're seeing a lot of stuff from all over the world, and it doesn't matter if you don't get the odd reference. The intention of it and the comedy of it does come through, I think.
We grew up watching all these American Christmas movies that are covered in snow, and we just accepted that.
Yeah.
But we were always swimming on Christmas Day with, sitting out in the sun eating prawns. So it's like...
Well, in Townsville.
Well, sure. But anyone would. It's the middle of summer.
Yeah.
And we never question it. You just go, that's American Christmas or English Christmas. We felt like the only ones that weren't. But it didn't mean we turned the TV off and went, well, that doesn't resonate with us.
Yeah.
But there were a few notes early on with the scripts in season 1 where it was kind of like, oh, do you want to change that word? I feel like maybe someone in America won't understand that. And we thought, well, if we try to neutralize our dialect so that it travels better, then Australians won't feel like, hey, that's how we speak.
Yeah.
So then we please kind of nobody.
Yeah. And then you get a show that people fully understand but aren't that invested in.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't resonate as authentic, behavior or speech. Yeah.
I'm sorry, a stranger flashing another stranger and then he hits a dog is funny in any language. So you use a different language than us in Australia.
Totally. It's actually probably got virtually no dialogue. That's a bit Mr. Bean. Anyone can watch it.
That's true. Yeah. That is a universal bit. And then we get in with the Australianisms.
So at what point were you sort of discussing that you wanted to create a show for yourselves, or did you already have sort of this initial spark or idea for what became Colin from Accounts? How did this all sort of begin?
We didn't. This is something that just unfolded. We never planned to put ourselves in a show that then would be streamed across the world. That wasn't the initial plan.
No, but we did want to work together and write something together. And it made sense because we're actors by trade to put ourselves in it. I mean, as an actor, that's why you start writing, isn't it? It's because you don't have to wait for someone to call and say, here's a great script.
Yeah.
So we had ideas that were kicking around.
I think we were just walking the dog once, and I was we talked about this idea, like two people come together over a kind of a car accident and an animal like that. And Patty was making No Activity in America, the remake, and I just moved to LA, and I was really restless and bored, and I'd never been not working, and I'd been working in Sydney in film and theatre and TV for a few years, and it was the first time I'd kind of given it all up to sit and wait for the phone to ring in LA, and I'd only been there about 3 months, but I was pulling my hair out.
Oh my God.
And Patty goes, why don't you go to Australians in Film, which is an amazing not-for-profit set up by Peter Ritchie and
in LA,
and it's brilliant. You can just go and sit at a desk and write. And I spent the first day downloading Final Draft and buying it on a Black Friday sale after Thanksgiving that year. And then I Monday afternoon, literally closed my laptop and went, that's a good day. I bought Final Draft. And then the next day, Tuesday to Friday, I kind of knocked out the pilot and kind of printed it and embarrassingly showed it to Patty. And he was like, this is something here. There's something here.
It was annoyingly good, and annoying that she didn't just write it in 5 days. She wrote it in 4 days with the first day of downloading Final Draft. And I was like, this is really good. Like, she'd never written anything before. And I was like, this is great. And then it just sort of unfurled from there. It was a script that we held onto for a while, that Harry held onto really. And then our producer, Rob Gibson, he'd started at this new production company. He was like, hey, I'd like to start shopping us around and let's get some development funding. And it just sort of unfurled in a really fortunate way.
It was really slow and kind of
It took years.
Yeah, and
because you sat down in 2017.
Yeah, I wrote that in Thanksgiving 2017.
Yeah,
and here we are 6 years later. But it's like every time we took a step, there was support there though. But we were busy. You know, I was doing a show. I remember I wrote that and then got a pilot, and then there was a few American shows I was doing, and Patty was working on No Activity in a few American shows as well. Yeah. And so we didn't have our eye on like this Aussie comedy, but Rob had tenacity, and then one day he flew himself to LA with his producing partner Ian. They got us a room and we plotted the rest of the season together. And then every time we took a step, they were there. And then even like a month before we started shooting the first season, there still hadn't been an announcement. There hadn't been like an official green light. And we were still looking at each other going, is this even happening? And our baby was like 3 months old. And I just remember in December or January, because we started shooting in January, I was like, I'm not even sure that, is this thing on? Like, so it wasn't as deliberate as it seems.
Yeah. And looking back on it, it's like with the way I feel about an acting career, you particularly in Australia, you kind of just cobble it together. But I suppose anyway, you sort of cobble it together. And when people ask about, your career, if you're lucky enough to have one, it's just about looking back and going, oh, I did that and I did that. I guess that's a career. Like, you just put the steps in front of you as you're stepping, really. And if you're lucky enough to be able to cobble it together, that's what it is. But that's how this show feels for us. Yeah,
this second season feels far more deliberate and planned, and the scripts reflect that too, thankfully.
Yeah.
But in terms of what we set out to make, I mean, even the Block 2 directors for our second season, they said to us on set yesterday or the day before, was it your intention to make a show that was always funny and then undercut with feeling? Funny, feeling, funny. And we were just like, no, just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
We studied it. We planned it.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Something that's really nice about writing for yourself is you didn't have to audition for these roles, I assume.
God knows, because honestly, I was just saying this the other day. One of the trickiest things about making this show is the casting, because we get these tapes and it just, every one of them kind of just takes a little piece of my heart, because I think because we know what's involved, and also we can't believe that people are auditioning for our show.
Yeah,
and a lot of them are friends and colleagues in Australia as well. It's like, oh God, no, he didn't send one, did he? Oh no. Like,
yeah, it hurts.
before we've even seen it, it's like, it hurts that they've put this energy into it for us, and it's up to us to decide whether or not they get the role. It kills us.
Doesn't seem fair, doesn't seem right.
Because it's not fair. And it's not the best person gets the job. It's like, oh, there's a look there, or there's a thing there, or like everyone's got to agree.
Well, they live in Sydney, not Melbourne, so they cost less. You know, it's not a meritocracy. There's so much luck. And yeah, every time we sit down to watch casting, we just our heart beats extra loud because we just feel we can see the setup in the hotel room, or we know what that's like. We know that they've put their baby to sleep for this, that kind of thing.
Yeah. As we've done, like, we've got a ring light. Thank God for ring lights.
Yeah.
Nanny's come and taken our baby away. It's like, it's ridiculous. And you got to present, hey, here I am doing the thing. And it's like, it's the same for castings.
Yeah.
In this day and age, when it's all tapes, you don't go into a room anymore.
But yeah, I wonder if we would have even got it. It's like we have such a healthy disrespect for the writing that I think makes our performances more authentic.
It definitely
And
does.
if someone else had written it and we auditioned, they might be like, it's but not however,
Yeah. I've only booked one job by tape.
I've booked 0.
So that's South, we probably wouldn't have got these jobs.
Nah.
It's a very different skill. I don't think people understand that. And I think people also think that you see a lot of bad auditions, and that's not the case. It's that there's too many good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, do you think we'll ever get back in the room?
I know it seems like everybody wants to.
Everyone's desperate to.
Yeah.
But
it's right. Because the other thing, when we receive tapes to look at them, it's like, it's not like you can work on it with the actor. So like, that's great. They may be talking to the casting person, or they're just at home and they're going, I'm going to have a stab, as we do when we audition for things.
Yeah, and they might have missed it completely. And if they just had a note from someone in the moment, I think that's when I've gotten jobs, is when I've been, I think I'm a good note taker.
Yeah.
And I can't do that in a tape.
No.
actually, I do want to talk about your amazing cast, because every role is so perfect, and being actors yourselves and being on the other side of that, how were you able to sort of round out this amazing ensemble? Was it people you knew? Was there anyone who just came in off a tape that you ended up casting?
Yeah, Michael Logo, who plays Brett, had such a different flavor, that beautiful Samoan guy. He just had a different rhythm to Paddy and his offsider Kiara, played by the indomitable Genevieve Hegney. But they were friends. They're already friends in life.
Jen and I are friends, old friends.
It fits that they played kind of besties. They've got a great rhythm. It's even more so in season 2. They just keep doing it. But Michael's like a bass note for them. He really anchors them and stops it all being kind of hi-hat. That's
right. Yeah, it creates a real depth and gives a real shape to that trio in the brewery. Yeah, and Jen Hegney and I, old mates. And when we were writing this, I think we thought of Jen for Yvette.
Yeah, the vet. And Yvette. Then she just pitched herself. She goes, "Why can't I have the bigger role?"
Yeah, she's like Kiara. like she's no dummy.
She basically is Kiara. The way she talks, it's so funny. She's like, give me the bigger role, please. And we're like, oh, cool, whatever.
Yeah. We're like, yeah, she is great. She'll be great at that.
But the woman who plays my mum, Helen Thompson, is just extraordinary. She and I had done a play together, and she's a bit young in real life to play my mother. And we were a little bit worried that she'd be offended by that. And so what we did is we tweaked the script to fit that. So she loves the idea that people might think they're sisters, or she was far too young to have me. Like, we just massaged whatever people brought.
And she keeps flirting with Gordon, saying, we're the same generation, old school.
Yeah, because she and he are, I think, closer in age.
Yeah, like 4 years apart or something.
No, not 4, like 10.
Is it 10?
Yeah.
No, I don't
We're
know.
12, so she's
after a certain age, you stop counting, Harriet. You stop counting.
4 would be weird.
I don't know. It's all a bit
to
weird,
that end, actually, can you talk about, you get to write to your own personal strengths, but also you probably want to challenge yourselves. Like, do you only think as a writer at first, and then only later realize, oh, wait, I have to act that?
Yes,
Yeah.
I felt that. I hated that when I'd written myself doing a poo on camera, having to throw it out the window. All those 3 things in those first 3 episodes, the nibble flash, the poo, and the peeing in the drawer. I mean, if no one's seen the show and they hear this, they think it's a joke.
Well, they'll rush out and watch it now.
Yeah.
All 3 days, I just kind of went, Harriet, why'd you do this?
Because as the writer, you knew that it was the funniest thing.
Yeah, and as the actor, I'm like, oh, I want to talk to the writer about this.
Yeah.
This is unfair.
Yeah.
But do you know what? There was this funny thing yesterday, for instance, where he's talking to my mum and he goes, oh, I can't find Ash. Maybe she went for a run or something. And the line she goes, oh, is she exercising again? That's fantastic. And because I can make, it's already funny, but because I can make fun of myself, I ran in there and said, and I've got a big bottom. I ran in there and I said, say, running with her bottom? I don't think so. And like, that's something that if a writer said that to me, I'd like complain to HR.
As the actor, you'd be like, what the
I burst into tears.
Yeah.
But I can write my own insults.
Yes.
So
funny.
And then poor Helen got the giggle. She almost couldn't get it out. And like, we might not use it, but it's texture that you can't really write for people.
Also that we can make fun of each other through our show and we have to take it, like the age gap and stuff, like all the stuff of me being old and stuff and her being Jen, whatever. Like we can really have fun with each other and neither can honestly get offended. Or if we do, we have to pretend we aren't.
No, I don't think we could offend each other very easily at this point.
No. And because also to your point about, writing something that as the actor, it's like,
I did trim your eyebrows. Didn't I?
Did they?
Yeah, they're good. Sorry. I just noticed. Colin has more of a ledge out here, but we are shooting, so we're a bit extra hot right now.
When we're shooting, in life, usually I have what I like to call the Australian politician, which is like comes out like that. Like it's a great look. Get on board. Circa 1983. As actors, because when we're writing, we're always advocating for our own characters because we want the best role. And so we do give ourselves great stuff to do, but I think for myself anyway, I never think about doing it later in terms of the challenge of it. And I do find myself on set going, why this?
Yeah, he wrote a big crying scene that he had to do 2 days ago. And it's literally like Gordon bursts into tears.
Yeah.
And you read that as an actor, you're like, what?
Why?
Can I have an option? Like, is there an option where I hold it back a little just because you're scared of not being able to do it on the day?
That's right.
And then, we drove out of set that day and Pat was like, I was really mad at myself for writing that. Super
mad. Because I'm not one of those actors who can go, which eye do you want?
Yeah, he's
which
not eye? Margot Robbie.
I wish I was. I mean, I do get compared to her quite a bit and favorably, but I can't do the crying. But
yeah, you did.
I did it. I mean, it wasn't because in season 1 I had a bit of a cry in the last episode. But that wasn't it
was more comedy.
He starts crying on camera as well. It was like I was already crying and you discover me. Whereas this one I had to do yesterday. It was like start crying on camera. It's like, oh God, why'd you do that, you dick? But I managed to do it. Thank God. How embarrassing if I couldn't.
Yeah.
I wrote it.
I mean, I think crying on camera and playing drunk are 2 of the hardest things to pull off. And they sound like in theory easy, but they're not.
So often we are drunk and crying.
Yeah.
I think you'd know it by now.
Yeah, all through the writing process, all through our marriage. A good tip for acting drunk, I had to do a movie. Well, we're in the same movie where I was drunk a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And a good tip is as they're rolling up, speed, sound, spin around, and then act, completely straight.
That's interesting.
It helps.
Our toddler's good at that.
She's the best, but she does drink a bit. There's probably too.
I think there might be this misnomer where some people think, it's easy to do a show when you know each other so well. And like maybe the intimate scenes are easy because you're real life partners. But I actually wonder if that makes them harder because you're not used to people watching.
Yeah. I mean, there's a joke there, but no, we're not. It was funny. We were offered an intimacy coach. Cute.
I wanted it.
Yeah. We said, can you just come by our house later?
Yeah.
No, it is funny because there's like a different kiss, for instance. Like,
yes,
we're better kissers without a camera. When you kiss on camera, it's a lot of teeth knocking, that kind of thing. It's not good. It's not good.
It's not bad.
You know,
it's not bad.
That's fine. It's
there's a shorthand to it, which is good.
Yes,
but it can be a bit like, you're in front of 16 people of the crew and go, no, Patty, don't put it there. Put your hand. No, don't. What are you doing?
Yeah,
like, there's a lot
naggy,
of which is fine at home when we're alone. I'm used to taking that sort of direction. But in front of others, it's emasculating.
I think there's definitely comfort. There's not real nerves like you do. There's something our job is so weird that you have to make out with strangers or people you've only known a week.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
I
know.
I remember when I was watching a movie when I was little and I saw these two characters kissing. And I was like to my sister, I said, Madeline, how are they doing that? And she said, oh, they've got a bit of plastic between their lips. They've got glad wrap. I don't know if you call it glad wrap there. Saran, what do you call it?
Saran wrap.
They've got that between their lips, so they're actually not touching. And I was like, oh, she just made up a lie. But as I got older, and then became an actor, I was like, oh, yeah, that's not true.
That's not.
I better not ask for the glad wrap.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I hope you didn't show up on set and be like, can I get my glad wrap before this?
I brought my own.
Yeah.
Well, and also your characters shouldn't have that shorthand yet. When they're starting to be intimate. So it's almost harder that you are a couple in real life to have to pretend like this is the first time you're kissing.
We were concerned that would we have any chemistry on screen, honestly, because we didn't have that there wasn't that in real life.
Frisson. We have a frisson.
We do have a frisson.
We also had a very new child and the weight of a whole show on our shoulders. So and we're living together and working together and traveling the set together. It's like
she loves it.
The red velvet curtain, it's in the wash. It's the mystery. Is history.
Could do with a bit of a glow up.
That was good. That was very history. We should work on that though.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Go to an intimacy weekend after we wrap.
So we were relieved when a mate of ours saw an early cut of it, and he was like, "You guys have chemistry." And we're like, "Thank God."
Yeah, because you can't really fabricate it.
No.
And you don't really know because there are some real life couples who don't have chemistry on screen. I've seen it.
Really?
Yeah. But I think
people who hate each other who have great chemistry.
Yeah.
Yes, there's something in that. Yeah, for sure.
But I think obviously you don't have to be together to have good chemistry. Obviously, I think what helps us is we do elevate our own scripts on the day in terms of, like Harry said, we have a healthy disrespect for our own writing, and so it can feel very natural out there. We can finish each other's
sandwiches.
So it does feel like I think if you're a decent actor and the dialogue sounds natural and stuff, I think that just reads as chemistry. It should do anyway.
Yeah, I think you're right. And also, I think that at the moment same with season 1, with season 2, it's like we have so much pressure on us. Our child has stopped sleeping, yada, yada, yada. Between action and cut, with he and I right now, it's kind of the freest place.
So is.
We don't have to talk about who's going to give her a pacifier, are we going to sleep on the ground next to her, what time is the something showing up? Do you know what I mean? Between action and cut is this clear freeway of ease.
Yeah.
So I think we are enjoying it a lot.
I was talking about your amazing cast, and I left out probably the most important actor, which is Colin himself. I believe his name is Zach.
Zach, yeah. There's Zach and Buster.
There's two.
Buster only did a couple of things. He did the hero gate thing.
Opening sequence.
And he also
he smashed that.
And all the opening sequence, actually. And because the other Zach had already shaved his back, so we couldn't use him hilariously. Zach. He's not quite as cute as Buster.
Don't say that.
Buster's he's got something.
He's got
star quality.
And so Buster, embarrassingly, is also on the poster. So Buster did the glam bits.
Yeah.
And Zach did the work.
He was the journeyman, the heavy lifter.
Yeah, he's gorgeous. They're both gorgeous. We haven't seen Buster yet today, actually.
No, but they're both very good boys.
They are. It's not, they say don't work with children or animals, but he is so easy.
Yeah.
These dogs are so well trained.
Yeah. But there's not a lot of space on set with some of the other actors. You know what I mean? They take up a lot of space.
I am curious about that because you often can't predict what animals or children are going to do. You also have to be very honest around them. So, but these are very well-behaved, well-directed animals.
Totally. And initially they were like, do you want us to find, this is probably the more 2023 woke thing to do, but do you want us to find a disabled dog, and employ that dog and then try to find an able-bodied dog that matches it and use it, he or she, in the opening bits.
Yeah.
And we had a look around, but that level of training is, We didn't even have Border Terrier in mind. We were just trying to find like the goodest boy.
We got a list. We got a lookbook of potential dogs, and like too cute, and we just I don't even know about Border Terriers.
We just thought he was a scruffy little fella,
little scrapper.
But yeah, we were trying to find a disabled dog for a minute there, but the amount of training that it would have needed would be too tricky, maybe.
Yeah.
So an able-bodied dog got that role.
Got the gig.
And for the human actors, how much improv on set do you like, or do you allow, or is it sort of inevitable?
It's up to each performer, really.
It really is, yeah.
The legend who plays my mum, she's to the T, to the letter. She's a real theatre girl, and she just does what's written. If you give her an alt, she'll do it. But she's not cooking with them. Some actors come in and they've thought about it.
Like Darren, who plays Professor Lee, who shows up in episode 6.
He's like a weapon.
Yeah. He'll just do anything and everything. And same with Jen Hegney, who plays Kiara, Emma, who plays Meggles.
Yeah.
She can do it a bit. I think everybody has the facility to do it.
It's kind of the director calls that mostly. Trent O'Donnell is our director, and he loves doing it as written a couple of times and then throwing in some stuff, generally buttons, so the end of the scene. But
a bit of a fun run.
We also do fun runs where it's
and
like
we both love doing that as well.
Just throw it away if you want. Say anything. I mean, not anything. We've still got to get where we try to go at the scene. But yeah, there's a bit of improv. It probably feels like there's more than there is, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it as a compliment when I assume there was a lot.
Absolutely. And because if there's ever a line that doesn't feel natural in an actor's mouth, it's like, okay, well, just give it a different word, give it a different thing. Because ultimately, of course, I'm a big believer in that, because the audience is never interacting with the script. So in a sense, it doesn't matter what's on the page. If it doesn't sound natural, it's going to sound like a bad line.
And we're also always taking inspiration on the day from like the props and the stuff around us. That whole bit with the unicycle in it too. Like, is that a unicycle? How long have you been F1?
Yeah.
Is that a unicycle? How long have you been single? That was just something we made up because the art department had so brilliantly filled his home with unfinished hobbies. They liked the idea that Gordon couldn't commit to anything. And so that's why he had a drum kit, a boxing bag, a unicycle,
a trumpet,
like all sorts of dumb kind of batchy stuff.
Yeah. And
so the unicycle was not written, but it was like, well, if it's there, you can't ignore a unicycle in the room.
No, you really can't.
No, there's an expression, the unicycle in the room, because
unicycle in the room. That's why that's famous.
Also, unicycles are just inherently hilarious.
Yeah.
I just like, what a weird thing.
Yeah.
You've referenced it a couple times, and I'm just curious. Can you tell us anything we can expect for season 2, or what to look forward to?
Well, we finished season 1. Well, should we even talk about? We basically finished season 1 saying let's go get him.
Yeah, because it came out yesterday.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it's all streaming.
2 days ago.
Yeah. Okay, good. It's all there now. So I guess, spoiler alert, season is over. I guess we could say season 2 starts not long after season 1 finishes.
Yep. And we're trying to get our boy back.
At the start of the season. And really, I mean, it's interesting because when we sat down to start writing season 2, it was like, okay, where do we begin? And it's not like we can have another inciting incident. Like that thing that happens at the very start of season 1. It's not like we can suddenly, okay, season 2, they hit a cat with the car. Like,
and her name's Karen from marketing.
Not bad. It's pretty bad. So season 2 is just the ripples of that first incident, just still, extending out. And so we just followed these things to their natural conclusion. So we naturally, the characters who we've already introduced in season 1, we develop those things, and the way they're responding to events becomes more so. And also Ash and Gordon, they found each other, embraced this chaos in this first season. And in the second season, it's like, okay, they've got over that initial thing. And it's like, okay, actually, who are you?
Now, who are you? And why are we living together?
And are we right for each other, or
we work with a dog, without a dog?
Yeah, or do we just like the dog?
Or are we just kind of really connected to this weird moment in time where we hit a dog together and like decided, like, is that going to fizzle out?
How compatible are we, really?
Yeah.
Which is a pretty real thing.
Did we say that season 1 was like will they or won't they get together? And
Yeah.
season 2 was like, should they have gotten together?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So my
No.
friend called it, instead of a meet cute, a meet ugly.
Oh, that's cute.
The
I
dog
like
is
that.
horrible, but
And you know what? Yeah, we had it. We've run into some. I'm sure there are some people out there that like just do not find the idea of any sort of dog injury funny, and largely Americans. I think, yeah, it's not cool, and so we've probably lost some audience there. So meet ugly, I will go with.
But sure, we hit a dog, but there's also a boob in there, so
Yeah,
springs and roundabouts. I wouldn't say something ugly.
No, it's actually interesting because if the dog had died, it would be one thing. But no, that the premise was that the dog goes on and these people, because I'm very, very sensitive. You can do whatever you want to humans. Very sensitive about dogs. And I have no problem with this. So you have my seal of approval. Also, I just realized I stayed in a relationship 2 years too long because we shared a dog. And that's probably why this story speaks to me. But totally worth it for the dog.
Well, that's good. It's funny, on the day when we were shooting that, we had the art department who were very zealous. And they're like, so what do you need? We've got stuff. Do you need blood for the dog on the ground? We're like, no.
Yeah, they were like blood, gunk, any sort of bodily fluids.
No moisture at all around this dog. He's just lying down and he's very much alive.
But also the road was very hot that day. So we had to cool it down so he could lie still with ice bags, and an umbrella. So this little patch of road was cool.
Yeah.
And then that was very damp looking. So we had to CGI the damp away from him so it didn't look like dog stuff.
Also, we shot that opening sequence. We had that. It was a hot day, hot road. And also around the time Harry had to flash a boob, it was
like school's out.
3:20. And there was just like all these, I don't know, 12-year-old kids walking past going
5, 6, 7, just like lots of kids. And they kept having to hold them back.
Making some core memories. Groups of kids making core memories.
Just on a balcony, just watching.
Yeah.
I was like, goodness.
But once Harry did it once, she couldn't put him away.
Stop it.
Loved it, didn't you? Loved it. Very free. Free the nipple. That's what I say.
I was nervous that it would look a bit sleepy. So I was like trying to think if I needed to put some like menthol on it.
Oh, I wish you had.
No one wants a sleepy nipple in a cold open.
No, a cold open.
Open, yes. By the way, I have no idea if this is an urban legend or not, but I had heard that when they did A Fish Called Wanda, originally there was blood around the dogs that they killed and nobody laughed, and they had to take the blood out, and then everybody laughed at the dog deaths. No idea if that's true or not, but I'm just putting it out there.
I feel like it is true.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like art department. They're doing their job, you know?
Yeah.
They're like, this is
it's
what
a fine line. Yeah. Once there's blood, not funny anymore.
I have thought about that Fish Called Wanda bit, and that was hysterical. It was so funny.
So hysterical.
Very, very funny. Michael Palin trying to kill these dogs. Oh no, the woman, and he's accidentally, because he's a dog lover. That's why it was so good.
The worst part.
He tried to kill this old lady, and she's walking the little dogs around, and he keeps trying around London, and he keeps trying to keep accidentally killing the dogs one by one.
Amazing.
And he's devastated. It's really funny. I think that's what made it work, because he was so upset. We didn't have to get upset.
Yeah.
Got pretty yappy dogs as well.
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but yeah. Well, again, it's such a great show. I can't wait for the next season. I want to congratulate you, and also thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your craft and your stories with your fellow actors.
Oh, thank you.
It was our absolute pleasure.
I'm sorry we don't have more craft.
Yeah, should put more craft in.
Be craftier.
We'll be craftier in season 2.
I can't wait. That's what we can expect from season 2. More crafty.
Yeah.
20% craftier.
Better acting.
Yep.
That's a direction I love. Can you act better?
Yeah.
I did a show.
Oh, is the answer.
I did a show a few years ago, and they the code for like the performance wasn't great because there was always a lot of smoke and atmos in the rooms. They were like, we've got to go in. Too much smoke. But that meant performance.
A dear friend of ours who's an actor, he tells this story of like he finished this scene and the director went, great. His name's Leon. And the director's like, great. Okay, yeah. Terry, great. John, great. Yeah, Steve, great. Leon, where did you go to drama school?
Really?
Yeah.
That's so intense.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for supporting the show.
Yeah, really.
Oh, absolutely.